Figuring out your next career step can bring up a lot of internal conflicts. There are so many variables to balance: what you enjoy doing, what you think you're good at, what the market needs, how much money you want to make, what sounds impressive to your friends, what fits with the geography you want to live in, what fits with the amount of time you want to give to work versus other things in your life. There are a lot of variables to keep in mind. So if you're feeling stuck, paralyzed, or confused, that is totally normal. But here's why it's so important to try to resolve those internal conflicts. You and your brain are basically in a three-legged race together. And since you're bound together at the hip every second of every day, it's really hard to get to where you're trying to go if every part of you is not on board. You can drag a dissenting part of yourself forward, but it takes a lot of effort. And chances are, at some point, your energy will run out. So before you start sprinting towards the finish line, take the time to resolve those conflicts and get every part of you moving in the same direction. At the end of the day, that's why we're doing these career experiments. You have an internal disagreement about what you should do next. And rather than trying to resolve those disagreements with discussion, we're resolving those disagreements with data. In the introduction to this series, I told you to pick one job or career path to test. And over the last several days, we've covered 4 fast and easy career experiments that you can do this week, even with a busy day job and a busy life. Experiment number 1 was listen to podcasts where people talk shop about that industry. Experiment 2 was do coffee chats with people in the industry and get facts, not feelings. Experiment 3 was do the job interview project. And experiment 4 was make a ghost proposal. All of those articles are linked above. And today, we're going to talk about the final experiment, experiment number 5, take on a free client or customer. In experiment number 4, you don't have to show your ghost proposal to anyone. In experiment 5, we're taking things a step further and you're actually working with your potential clients or customers. And you can make it a smaller project if that's easier. If your paid product would be a 3-month project, make your free product just a few weeks. Or if your paid deliverable would be a big transformation, make your free deliverable just one small piece of the puzzle. But the point of the experience is for you to get a full rep actually doing the thing that you would be doing with a real customer and a real deliverable. People often ask me how I made the leap from working in corporate to being a coach. The answer is I did this exact experiment for 9 months. In February 2021, I started writing and publishing 2 articles a week. Not publicly, that was way too scary, just to a small group of friends via email. I was trying out doing the marketing that I would ultimately have to do as a coach for free with very low stakes and on a small scale. In April 2021, I started a coach certification program. There were hundreds of people in the program, but they broke us up into mini cohorts of 10 people each, and they encouraged us to practice by coaching each other. The requirement was that we do 6 practice coaching sessions with each other in 6 months. I decided to do a practice coaching session with every person in my cohort every single week. We would trade off on either giving or receiving the coaching, so I spent 6 months coaching people for 5 hours a week. Again, all for free in a very low stakes environment. These were all people who had already bought into the idea of coaching and who knew I was still learning how to do this, as were they. So there was really nothing to lose. And at the end of the certification, I decided to take on 10 free clients for 6 weeks each. These were people who had never worked with a coach before, and I took them through the full consult process so I could practice doing an intake, setting goals for a coaching package, and helping them think through whether or not they wanted to work with me. Because even if they weren't paying with their money, they were paying with their time. So we talked through the decision as seriously as I do with potential clients today. And then I spent a couple of months living in the full rhythm of being a coach, posting content online to let people know about my services, going to events and saying, "Hi, I'm a coach," and having a regular cadence of client calls on my calendar. And it was only after I did all of that that I officially became a coach and started taking on paid clients. And by that point, it wasn't a leap. It was just the next simple, straightforward step. And because I'd taken my time and gathered plenty of data and resolved all the internal conflicts I had, I felt fully aligned about my next step, and I could sprint wholeheartedly towards the finish line. I told you that you can do these experiments this week, and you absolutely can. But I also want to tell you, don't be afraid to take your time, because you're not going anywhere, and you're certainly not staying there unless every part of you is on board. So take it step by step, do one experiment at a time, and keep working on resolving your internal disagreements with data, not just endless circular discussion. And by the way, I absolutely had a coach to help me through this process. I don't think I could have done it alone. It's so hard to see things objectively when it's your career and everything feels so personal to you. My coach played a critical role in keeping me on track, getting me out of my emotional spirals, and providing an objective outside perspective. So if you'd like a coach to help you through this process too, come talk to me and let's talk about how we could work together. The link to book a free consult call is above.